KT Leviston will be out, and then Rob will be doubtful.
Was there a setback for Rob at all? Or?
No, he just hasn't made the progress that I would say any setback. Is just, he got that ankle pretty good. So
What has he been able to do at this point?
he's practiced. He's practiced this week in a limited capacity, and he's been able to, he looks good, but, is he quite ready to be the Rob that we're all accustomed to seeing? That's why he's listed as doubtful right now.
Was it just kind of an overnight thing for Kevin Dotson with the illness, or?
Yeah, it's just a little stomach bug. Yeah.
He's been. Oh, sorry. He's been like remarkably durable for you guys.
Talking about Kevin?
Kevin Dotson, yeah. What has it been like? There's so many moving parts,
I
but
know.
knowing that guy is.
It's been great. It's been really good, Jordan. And he has been, and that's really goes throughout training camp, off season, into the practices, and then, obviously in the season. So, I don't know if you saw us mic'd up last week, but it gives you some good insight into how much the guys like him, how much fun that he has. He's getting better. I thought he played really well last week. And repetition is the mother of learning. The more that you're able to play, and I think he's getting a comfortable rapport. He's played with a bunch of different guys next to him at the right tackle, played next to a couple different centers, but it has been nice to be able to have, Kevin as consistent as he's been.
Sean, do you go ahead, Gary.
I was going to say after the game, if I'm not mistaken, you had said you decided not to kick because you didn't have confidence in the operation at that
During the
time.
game.
During the game.
Yeah.
Why not?
It was-
and is that, do you feel better now going
I
into
do.
this one?
Yeah, here's what I told, and I told this to Josh too. Kickers have, some moments, and it's not exclusively to him. It was really the operation, and we missed a 26-yarder. I had a couple ones where we were just inside the, left upright that were still good for us. In that moment, there are some wins in Foxborough, and just felt like you're playing your percentages. And, my job is to make decisions that I feel like give us the highest percentage to come away with that result. Mm-hmm. That didn't mean that I don't have confidence in him. He was a week removed from, if it wasn't for a false start, being 6 for 6 on field goals. And so what I do know is that he's a resilient guy. He's mentally tough. He's got a process. I think he's learning a lot in the midst of his rookie season, as I would imagine most of these kickers will tell you. But I have tremendous confidence in his ability to learn from it, and that's not going to affect decisions as it relates to going into this game.
Sean, with where the division race is, do you have any specific messaging that you deliver to your team every week with where you guys stand?
No, Lindsay, we focus on ourselves because really our conversation, we can't control those other games. Only thing we can control is how we play on Sunday night against the Eagles. And so if you want to be relevant in those conversations, usually what's served us well is just continue to take care of our business. And so now, when you're watching the highlights or the scores, do you pay a little bit closer attention? Yeah, of course. I think that's human nature. But as far as what we talk about in here, none of that really affects the bottom line for us. And so I don't really discuss that. Now, I'm sure guys talk about it, things like that, but we don't talk about that with the team.
Luka revealed to us yesterday that he kind of recently learned you guys are in the NFC West. Does that surprise you at all?
No, he didn't.
Okay. I think he was being sincere.
He was messing with you.
You think?
So you'd have to give me the context. I don't know. I think so.
I asked him like the same question about
Yeah.
being in the division and if he kind of scoreboard watches it all, and he's like, I just kind of, the guys told me recently I was.
Isn't that beautiful? See, that's why, be like Puka. Just focus on what you can control. And hey, if that's the case, I love him unconditionally. But no, you know what though? But there is a beauty in that. In all seriousness, let's just say that's the case. Okay. Really, I know this. That guy is going to show up when we play the Niners, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. And shoot, if he thinks that we're in the same division as the Eagles, then let's show up against them too.
Sorry to throw you off at all if I did there.
No, you-
I threw myself off. Primetime games, what do you spend the day doing?
I like the Sunday night games a little better because there's at least football on. The Monday night ones are the worst. And Thursday nights, you're usually in such a cram that you're kind of using all that time up till kickoff. So you kind of sit around and watch games. But, you go over to the stadium at a decent time. But I'll watch games in the morning, stuff like
Are you
that.
pacing around? Are you sitting around?
What would you guess?
Pacing around?
Yeah, probably that.
Yeah, okay. and then, just because I always bring sunshine with me, as we were writing last time, 2018,
Yeah.
versus Vic Fangio.
Yep.
What did you come out of that experience learning about yourself, your team, your offense?
Well, I think more than anything, you learn that was a really humbling night. They did a great job, and I think very similar to what I talked about that year in the Super Bowl. I'm not afraid to admit, there was things that I didn't do a good enough job of putting our players in spots. And give the players, for the opposing teams a ton of credit, but I thought Vic and his coaching staff put together an outstanding game plan, regulated a lot of the things that we were doing at the time, and it forces a lot of reflection. And so, that was a good learning experience for me. And, you try to apply those things, whether you win or lose. And there's been a lot of instances where teams have tried to replicate similar things to, what was on display that night. But what I have a lot of respect for with Coach Fangio is that, he's got an adaptability, a flexibility, and an identity that is, whatever suits that game plan, or that team that he's on. And but it was you always bring the sunshine. It was a great night for us. No, it was a good learning op though, but very
I
humbling.
mean, in hindsight, it's great. Like, you look
Yeah.
back and you were able to grow a lot.
No question. Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't feel fun in the moment, but the only real growth occurs when you go through those challenging things, if you're able to use it for the right reasons. And I think in a lot of instances, we've been able to do that.
Couple more, guys. When you were asked about Jimmy G last week, you mentioned his role in the scout team. Is it always your backup quarterback, or how do you decide?
It is. Yeah, that's typically how we do it.
And has there been anything that you've seen from him, either in the lead up to a specific game, that you mentioned that you thought he's made your defense better? Is there any specific moments where you noticed?
I just think it's the ability for him to be able to activate the parts of the field, make quick decisions, he's got such a command too. I mean, sometimes you get some of these younger quarterbacks, they're not, quite as comfortable taking command of the huddle. Even if you just hear the way that he communicates with the guys around him, you can't help but get better, because our defense is seeing a look that's very much reflective of high-level starting caliber quarterback play with the things that he can do. And so he's got a great way about himself, and he has definitely made them better by the way that he handles himself on the field, the looks that he's able to present them in terms of just mimicking and emulating the opposing team's quarterback. And then I think he's also made the players that he's around better, the way he communicates to them. I don't think it's by mistake that when you talk to teammates of his at other stops he's been at, he's very well regarded, and they want to play hard for him.
Sean, you don't need much to get you going to discuss football or preparing for football. Knowing that you guys are playing on Sunday night, is there anything exceptional about playing on Sunday night?
Well, I think it's an opportunity. I think guys get excited. It's prime time. It's the only game on. You get a chance to watch some football during the day. But the players are better equipped to answer that than me. I know that our focus is on trying to make as good of decisions as we possibly can, and I'm always a proponent for kicking off as early as possible.
Sean,
Last one, yes.
two-part question, if you don't mind me
Sure.
sneaking an extra one in there. Bo Limmer was talking about how Matthew Stafford got after him a little bit, a couple of low snaps in practice.
Yeah.
But he was smiling when he said it, like he loved getting coached like that by Matthew. Have you seen Matthew kind of turn that on and maybe pull it back in some cases, depending on who the young player
I
is?
think he's got a good feel, Jordan, because he knows that, hey, these are the guys that, we're going to be, in the game with, and it's very important. And if somebody's not giving that immediate feedback, and nobody has a better feel for where he wants that ball based on the location, and there's an edge that he has that I think is good at the right times. I mean, he's got such great emotional intelligence in terms of how to positively push his teammates. Bo's a guy that can take hard coaching too, and I think once you get to know people a little bit more, your job is to be able to reach them and figure out what's the best way to inspire learning or inspire positive change if we're trying to correct stuff. And I think Matthew has a really good grasp of where to pick and choose his spots with guys like Bo and just in general.
And I know the scouts have refined their personality assessment process in identifying guys who do want to be coached really hard, who can take that and,
Sure.
and thrive with it over the last 2 years in particularly. But from a coaching perspective, how do you see that? What qualities do you notice when you see a guy has that?
I think it's some mental toughness. I think it's resilience. I think people that can take hard coaching understand where it comes from. I think you have to be secure to take hard coaching. And I think you want to be, and if you're intrinsically motivated, I've heard, coaches say before, I think Coach Saban said it, the best, they demand to be coached. And that's what you want. Those are the types of guys, the way that you're wired. We can all be sensitive at times, but you got to be able to, drop your feelings and understand that if it's coming from the right place, then usually it's received the right way. And that's why the culture, I think the timing, the tone, making sure that it's never disrespectful or demeaning, but demanding. You're damn right we want it to be that way. And I don't think you can have enough people like that, because people that aren't willing to be coached, they have a ceiling, and usually it's going to be short-lived in this league. It's too hard.
Thank you.
You're welcome.